Hi guys, greetings from Bulgaria. It's in the middle of summer, so here it's really hot. Anyway, I'm here for yet another video from our Selenium course. Let me share my screen. So, I'm Anton Angel, and in our new course about Selenium, in the first video we talked about sign-up forms. It's a long video, but really essential, especially for junior people, because sign-up forms are stuff that we often ask about testing such scenarios during interviews. So check it out. It's really important. Um, then, as a continuation to that, in the second video, it was really interesting. We looked into third-party services that can help us to automate receiving of emails, interacting with them, even responsive testing them in the cloud. And now in the third video, we are going to talk about handling Captchas. We're going to talk about what they are and how to test them and how to interact with them in our automated tests. Then we are going to talk about cookies in order to speed up our test execution, and they can help us a lot. This will happen in the next video. And in the rest of the videos, we're going to talk about how to optimize the speed of your test with weights and different design patterns, handling some Selenium exceptions, and improving the maintainability with event listeners. If you haven't subscribed to the LambdaTest video channel, do so, hit the ring bell, and get notified. Each week, many new videos are uploaded, and they're pretty useful on different technologies. And then, yeah, check the description below. You will find all the source code that we are going to talk about. It's on GitHub, and we'll add there many useful resources. And of course, in each video, we are going to discuss not only how to make this work only on your machine, but how to run this in scale in the cloud. Because in many enterprise projects, actually, this is how we execute the tests in LambdaTest or another platform. And now, handling Captchas. But before that, let's first discuss what are the Captchas. And I added here a few images. What is Captcha? Captcha stands for, wait for it, Completely Automated Public Turing Test to tell computers and humans apart. I know it's wrong. This is why we call it Captcha, in short. And this is basically a type of challenge response test used to ascertain whether the user is human or a bot. The primary purpose of Captcha is to prevent bots or automated programs from using various types of computing services or collecting certain types of sensitive information, such as emails, phone numbers, etc. There are various forms. Here, there are others that are much more complicated, that you need to do some kind of a weird mathematic solve mathematic formula. And then yeah, they're really hard Captchas, right? And so to the bottom right, you will see an image generated by ReCaptcha. And in a minute, we're going to talk much more about it, because this is basically the Captcha image, Captcha widget that it's free to use from Google. And Captcha are mostly dynamic and are intended to defeat automation frameworks like Selenium. However, since they are dynamic, they can be carried out successfully only with human interaction and analysis. And as a result, most of the automation bots will fail. However, it's really important, since they are essential part of our modern web pages, to test them before even automating them. And what we can test about. First, you need to verify that the application accepts only valid Captcha, right? Then you need to verify that the code, the Captcha code, is case sensitive. You need to verify that the error message is displayed if a user enters an incorrect Captcha code. Then you need to verify that the Captcha code on the screen is properly visible to the user or not. then you need to verify that new captcha is getting generated on page refresh, or some captchas, they have this refresh button. You need to verify that new captcha is generated if a user enters some incorrect captcha code. You need to verify that the copy-paste action doesn't work on captcha input boxes. This is like a security precaution. And you need to verify that the application is not accepting partial captcha code. And from my personal experience, you need to check if your website, probably it's using some kind of a CDN service for optimizing the speed of websites. You need to check if the images are coming from there, that it's working properly, or if you are using some kind of a service for speed optimization, sometimes some of the scripts are merged or delayed, etc. So you need to be careful about that, because some of these optimizations, they are turned off for the test environments, because some of the services, they're actually paid, many of them, based on the vault. Another thing that you need to consider, especially for big websites, enterprise websites, is that many of our websites are hosted on more than one server, or the so-called server node, and they are behind the load balancer. This is like a service that is balancing the requests based on the load on these different nodes. And this means that you're not sure when you send a request on which node you will be balanced, right? Usually this is just a single node. However, in practice, it's possible one request to go to node 1 and then the second to node 2. And actually this happened to me, and we catch a really weird bug, especially for captchas. Also, you need, as you can see from the right, there is this audio version that it's like an accessibility feature that you need to check, like an alternative to the captcha. You hear something, you need to type the text and then bypass the captcha. And actually, as you'll see in the end of the module, we are going to use this option to automate some of the captchas. And of course, you need to check that this is working on different browser versions, operating systems, etc., on mobile. So definitely platforms such as LambdaTest can help you here. So what are the different ways to handle captchas in Selenium? The easiest and most foolproof way to handle captchas in Selenium is to disable the need for captchas during your test. By disabling captchas in test environments, you would no longer need to perform captchas task while testing a web application. And actually, this was something that we did for one of our enterprise projects that my company is involved. We talked with developers, and they, for the test environment, they added a special cookie that when we add the cookie, we're just disabling the captcha. This way, on the test environment, we have the full flexibility to turn on the captcha, test it, and then turn it off for some of the automated tests, which is ideal. However, this requires like cooperation from the developer. This is not always possible. And also you need to be careful with this type of conditions in the code, because you need to make sure that this is not available on production, right? Because someone may exploit it. And another disadvantage of this approach is that you are testing something different from your production environment. Ideally, you want your automated tests to test your product in an environment that resembles your production environment. And now disabling captchas actually has become very easy with Google's open source captcha widget called ReCaptcha. This is actually this here, probably this is version 2. You saw it in many places where you click at this checkbox, and this is actually ReCaptcha version 2. So what is ReCaptcha? ReCaptcha is a captcha system that enables web hosts to distinguish between human and automated access to websites. It's a free service from Google, and it's very widely used nowadays since it supports all major browsers and operating systems. Version 2, you can put side key and secret key, also known as test keys. And these keys will help bypass the Captcha verification requests. As a result, your automation test can run seamlessly. Once you enable the side keys, you will see a warning as here, as shown below. This indicates that the Captcha has been bypassed only for testing purposes, not in real time. And let me show you here for this demo website that I created. This is just a contact form. We're going to automate it in a minute. It just accepts first name, last name, email. We have other options here. And then at the bottom, we have Captcha version 2, ReCaptcha version 2. It here marks that it's protected by ReCaptcha. This is their website. As I name it, ReCaptcha video. Here I use version 3. Here I can see my keys. You just add them to your, for WordPress, for example, there are some plugins that directly you just put the 2 keys and it's added automatically to the contact form, or you can add it as a HTML snippet. It's fine. So yeah, basically instead of generating here the keys, you just put the test keys. Actually, these are the test keys here. From where you can get them, because no matter which Captcha widgets you're going to use, your best friend is actually their development documentation. You can check it out. Many of these Captcha services, they have a version for testing, depending on how they are integrated, whether this is JavaScript or something else, and you can turn them off. And again, here on their website, they have this, I would like to run automated tests with ReCaptcha, what should I do? And then you get this 2 hard-coded keys, and you put them in your test environment, and then this will work. This is one of the ways how you can do it. However, this is version 2. Actually, they have ReCaptcha version 3, which is sometimes referred to as invisible Captcha. Actually, it doesn't have this checkbox. And ReCaptcha version 3 actually verify requests with a score. It allows you to verify even interaction is legitimate without any user interaction. It is a pure JavaScript API returning a score. And this gives your developers the ability to take action in the context of your website. For instance, requiring additional factors authentication, sending a post for moderation, or throttling bots that may be scrapping content. How you can handle invisible Captcha? Unfortunately, the invisible captchas, they try to block the web traffic that appears to come from a bot. It detects, as you know, when we start the test in Selenium, they appear here that they are controlled by automated test software. So this invisible captcha detects that, and it will basically block all of the web traffic. So one way to handle that is if we set a different user agent. The user agent is used in HTTP to control, basically instruct the server from which type of web client we are accessing the web resources. So we can change them. There are websites that you can find many different user agents. This is the first thing. And then the second thing is that you need to basically another way these invisible captures are detecting that you are not a human if you use not recommended non-conventional viewport. And this is why another way is just always to start maximize the web browser and use a proper resolution if you are using a cloud platform. These are the two ways how you can battle the invisible captchas. Usually in some of the enterprise projects that I have been involved, we use some kind of a combination between version 2 and version 3 as a fallback. So what we do here to automate this CAPTCHA, another thing you need to consider when we are dealing with such CAPTCHAs is that if you want to check this box, we need to make sure to check it in a timely manner and simulate that you are not a bot. You don't want to check it too fast. Otherwise, it will detect that you are not a human. So one way to do that is we are going to use WebDriver wait, and we'll wait until this checkbox is clickable. Again, in a different module from the course, we are going to talk about thread slips, waitings, etc. Anyhow, before that, we're going to talk about how we can wait for that. Another thing, if you find this div here, and if you want to check it, you will notice that these just don't work, right? For example, here is my test. Again, we navigate to the website, we find the different elements, the first name, last name, email, in the different inputs by ID, and we type the text. I use here a library, popular Java library called Faker. We use it to generate the test data. And also be careful, use safe email. Otherwise, if you just use email address, it will generate valid Yahoo and Gmail email addresses, and you may send an email to someone that you don't want to. So until here, we filled all of the fields, right? And then we need to click on the CAPTCHA checkbox. And to do that, if we scroll, as I said, you won't be able to. And you won't be able to because actually the checkbox and the whole CAPTCHA, it's inside of iframe. And iframe is actually like a web page inside the web page. And from basic Selenium, you know that you need to switch first to the iframe and then interact with it. However, this iframe here, it doesn't have an ID. Actually, it has a random generated name just for this purpose. However, it has this title, and we can find it by title. When you press Control F, we can find it by XPath. If you haven't watched, there is a whole course about JUnit and Selenium 4. Inside the both courses, I have videos where I talked about advanced XPath. There is a whole video about relative locators in Selenium 4, and there I also show many advanced XPath expressions, so check this video out. So here we can use XPath, iframe, then square brackets, and I can provide with at title equals, and then this ReCaptcha title, and this is finding the iframe, and we can wait for it to be available. This is another option from WebDriver wait. And when you click it, then we'll see how it goes after that. So as I said, first we need to add it here. We use wait, then until methods, then we have this static class, expected conditions, frame to be available, and switch to it. You don't need after that to switch. Actually, if you will wait for the iframe to be there, as I said, it's loading a little bit slower, just to filter some of the bots that are clicking really quick. And I provided the XPath expression here. Then after that, as I said, when we locate the checkbox, we need to make sure to be, again, the checkbox might be there, but it might be still not available. Another element is loaded on top of it. And this, you cannot click it right away. This is why there is another method here called element to be clickable. And this will wait for our div with this ReCaptcha checkbox border class to be clickable, and then we'll check it. Again, probably if you run these tests a few times, the thing that will happen is that these images here will appear. And now it's the problem. How you battle that if you don't use the hard-coded keys that I showed? Actually, there is we can utilize a new technology. It's many of the cloud platforms nowadays, no matter whether it's Azure, Amazon, Google, and others, they offer this speech-to-text cognitive service, or AI, that basically can hook to your microphone, and when you use the audio version, it can listen and it will translate the audio into a text. Then we can get the text and put it inside, and then let's see what will happen. Again, all of these things that I'm going to show you, they're for testing purposes only for your test environments. Don't try to break real captchas, right? And also, you will have to fine-tune the code later. However, from here, I noticed that it's working perfectly fine. So
modeling technique.
now we can copy and verify. It's working like a charm, right? Of course, we are not going to use their demo website. Actually, I registered such a service in my Azure account. Again, I'm using Azure because in some of the projects, mainly we use Azure, but in other projects, we use Amazon, in others, Google. It's completely fine. The pricing is similar, the features are similar. So how you can find it? Actually, they have cognitive service speech SDK for Java. I already installed it in my project here. You just need this additional Maven dependency called Microsoft Cognitive Service Speech. Then you need to provide the proper key. Of course, don't try to use it. I mean, I already deleted my key, but I tried it. So they have like demos here, Azure Samples, Cognitive Service Speech SDK, and we can search for microphone. So as you can see here in the first example, they have this recognize once async. And you will notice that if you use it, since the Captcha, they have this security mechanism for this background noise, then some pauses. And because of the pauses, actually, this will detect just the first word of it. But basically, when you initialize, again, your subscription key and service region, you initialize this speech recognizer object. And inside of it, you have this recognizer you can call recognize once async. Let's see, they should have another option. This is again only once. You can download the code, but basically I'm going to show you they have another version. I already downloaded it and work with it. So let me show you. So after we, again, there is another frame. When you click on here, when you click here, there is another iframe that is different from the one that we found, ReCaptcha. So again, you need to switch to this iframe as well. It's called ReCaptcha challenge expire in 2 minutes. This is what I'm doing here, again, with the same method. But first you need to switch to default, then to this another captcha, another iframe. Then I click the ReCaptcha audio button. And after that, as I said, sometimes if you directly copy it from the Azure examples, it might not work directly for this particular captcha. It needs some fine-tuning. Actually, for the website, if you try it, it works every time. Then here we create a list that will put all the different words that the speech recognizer recognizes. And then Here in this event listeners, through Lambda, I'm initializing an anonymous method where if we recognize the speech, we are going to add it to this recognize speech parts, and I'm going to print it. And then instead of recognizing once, I'm using this start continuous recognition async, and I will wait for 10 seconds after I click the play button, since this is working in another thread. And after that, I'm going to click the play button. That's it. Then I'm closing all of them. And the last part is actually where we need to type the text. Here it is in audio response. We find the input through string join, passing the list. I'm basically concatenating all of the parts inside the list in a single string. I'm typing it. We basically click the verify button, switch to default, and click the submit button. That's all. And it works like a charm. As I said, I deleted it just for security purposes. What else? Last notes about this. Actually, there is a really good article about on the LambdaTest blog about this, how to handle Captchas in Selenium. But basically, I showed you most of the stuff. If you search, you will find that there are some paid services to Captcha, or for example, another 𝒏𝒕𝒐𝒏 These are services that they offer different SDKs for programming languages, where basically they're going to break the different types of Captchas. And they use actually real humans to solve the Captchas. To be honest, I wouldn't use them. I'm not sure how legal this is, and I don't know, from security perspective, I don't think that this is a good idea. As I said, my preferred way is just to disable the Captchas on test environments, and this is just a fun way to see how actually AI can help you. Actually, in the past, when I had a lecture about cutting-edge technologies, I used actually visual AI to solve these small boxes and to recognize them. Like 50% of the time, actually, this is working. So this is another not really expensive option. But yeah, I hope that this was useful to you. Yeah, in the next video, we're going to talk about handling cookies, how actually we can use cookies to log in faster to websites, how we can deal with this really annoying GDPR notifications, and yeah, it will be a really interesting and useful video. Again, thank you for watching. Please comment below if you like the video, or if you want to see other different videos about Selenium and other technologies. If you have any questions, put them below. Check the LambdaTest blog, there are really awesome articles there. And don't forget to get your Selenium certification or JUnit and others. See you soon in the next video. Thank you for watching.